NFL family, what is going on? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day NFL Show, where I'm going to break down my final picks going into Week 11. We started off the week really good with that Patriots victory last night. I also picked them in Survivor, so I'm on to the next week. Only 2 people left in my Survivor pool, guys. There are so many good games. I can't wait to break down this video for you. And as always, there's a ton of injuries we have to talk about to get us right for our selections for Week 11. Guys, I got some great news. The underdog promotion is still alive and well. We got our contract extended. $5 to play. You get $100 in bonus entries for a limited time. It is a great offer. And underdog is so much fun. If you take a look at your screen right now, I'm going to build a quick little lineup for you. I think this Miami Dolphins game could get loose, man. I'm going Achane over 78.5 yards. I also want to attack this 49ers game. Christian McCaffrey, I think, balls out. Arizona's defense is super depleted, so I'm going to go higher there for Christian McCaffrey as well. I think that's a great selection for us here for Sunday, right? And then what are some other fun games we can target, right? Man, that Bills-Buccaneers game is going to be a lot of fun. Jamar Chase is about to get loose. T. Higgins, 59.5 over. Jamar Chase, 94.5 over. I'm going to go with our boy T. Higgins to get involved in this offense, but I'm going to scale this down a little bit to where we can go all the way to 34.5, 39.5. I'm going to go at 39.5. I think he can get over 40 yards in this spot for us, right? And this is a standard selection, right? $5 in to win 20-40 to 4x our money. T. Higgins over 39.5. Christian McCaffrey over 68.5. And Achane over 78.5. For Sunday. It's that easy, guys. You click confirm and you're in the game. Let's get into these Week 11 final picks. All right, NFL fam, Week 11. I'm super excited to bring you my picks. We went 9-5 last week, and I'm feeling really confident about this week moving forward into Week 11. So do me a huge favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer and closer to 28,000. All your support really does help benefit the channel. That hype button's really huge as well. And if you want to take advantage of that underdog promo, check out the link in the description down below. All right, we had a good Thursday night game. We got a nice W here with the New England Patriots. It pretty much played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. I predicted the score to be 30-17, and it was 27-14. So I was right on the money with that analysis for that Thursday night game. Here's a really fun spot. In Madrid, in Spain, we got the Commanders, Dolphins. Man, the Commanders are banged up right now, man. No Jaden Daniels again. And Terry McLaurin has also been ruled out in this spot for the Commanders. And the Dolphins are coming off that huge victory over the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to be, playing with some juice in this spot, right? And I like the way they match up. The Commanders' defense is old. They're like the oldest team in the NFL. And the Dolphins still have some explosive pieces on this offense with Achane and Waddle. And I do think that they're going to be able to take advantage of a pretty mediocre defense. They're really struggling at the cornerback position as well, the Commanders are. And without Jaden Daniels and no Terry McLaurin, this offense is just very limited right now. So I'm going to roll with the Miami Dolphins in this spot to win in Spain, guys. Next up on this Sunday slate, division rival game, we got the Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Drake London is dealing with an illness and a back injury. He practiced in limited capacity there on Thursday. He's their entire offense, so they need him to get right if they want a chance to win this game. Also, in some other injury news, left guard Matthew Bergeron, ankle, did not practice on Wednesday. That's a huge bummer. And right guard Lindstrom, foot, he didn't practice on Wednesday either. So they're really beat up at the guard position, which could limit their ability to run the football if these guys aren't 100% going into Sunday's game. And remember, the Panthers kicked the living dog shit out of the Falcons earlier in the year. This game was in Carolina. That was 30-0 that game. So I just think they match up really, really well, and I feel like they kind of understand what Michael Penix Jr. can and cannot do well, and they exploited that. They gave up no points, whether it's home or away. The split shouldn't be that significant of a difference, right? I like the way the Panthers match up. Rico Dowdle did pop up on the questionable list as we move into Sunday, but he looks like he's going to play in this game. Chuba Hubbard is his backup, and he's a very capable back, as you guys have seen earlier in this season, right? So I'm going back and forth on this game, but like the more I watch Michael Penix Jr., the less and less confidence I have in him. 43% completion percentage on his passes last week, 12 for 28. That's flat out awful. They went 0 for 8 on third down. I mean, I just don't know how good he is. I don't have a lot of confidence in Michael Penix Jr. moving forward. But on the flip side of that, Bryce Young hasn't been great either, right? So we have a battle of two teams with struggling quarterback play, right? So what defense can show up? This Falcons defense has been good against the pass, and this pass rush with Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. has played a lot better, right? But I expect the Panthers to use the same game plan pretty much as they did in game one. If they can beat them to 30-0, I think this game will be close at home for the Falcons. And with those injuries to the offensive line, I'm a little suspect on whether or not the Falcons can get it done here. So I'm going to roll with the Panthers, right? If the Panthers want to have even a shot at making the playoffs here, guys, they got to win this game. They can't lose to the Falcons here and expect to make the playoffs, right? They're kind of in that, 5-5 range, So they need a big game, straight up. And Bryce Young needs to play better, flat out. He's got good wide receivers led by Ted McMillan, and they got Xavier Leggett, the first-round pick last year. They need to be better. But same goes for the Falcons, right? This is a really tough game to bet on. I don't have any bets on this Panthers-Falcons game at all whatsoever, but I'm going to roll with the Panthers. They just dominated so much in that first meeting. I just find it hard to believe that a team that won 30-0 is going to come out and just be totally flat and get dominated by a team that's very limited offensively. Michael Penix Jr. stares down Drake London, and if you could shut down Drake London at all costs, this offense is going to be extremely limited. So that's why I'm going to roll with Carolina in this spot. Coming up next, NFL fans, we got the Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills. Bills had a really disappointing loss last week on the road, taking on the Miami Dolphins. They're pretty big favorites in this spot. The number's pretty high at 5.5. But, man, this is going to be a really tough spot. The Bills have been struggling all year long stopping the run. But luckily for Buffalo, the Buccaneers have not been good running the football really all year. They haven't had a 100-yard rusher all season long, right? And it's doubtful that Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin play in this spot. So, man, it's going to be a tough game on the road, playing in Buffalo. Weather's starting to get a little cold up there in Buffalo for sure. And both of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers guards are questionable in this spot. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. I think the Buffalo Bills should win this game. They're going to want to bounce back after that big loss. And the Patriots keep winning, right? So if the Bills want to have a shot at winning this division and making the playoffs as a wild card team, they got to win games straight up. This is a very important game for the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion. I like them to win. I think Josh Allen bounces back. I think this team is going to come up with a different game plan because last week what they were doing wasn't working. Achane just dominated. The Bills are not a really great tackling football team, right? So lucky for them, no Bucky Irving because he was great at causing tons of missed tackles. And remember, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Bucky Irving. They're just so limited at this point, the Buccaneers are. I'm going to roll with the Buffalo Bills to get a big victory. And I think the point spread's at 5.5, right? So I think in my earlier video, I thought the Bills were not going to be able to cover. But, the more I look at the injuries and on the road in Buffalo, Bills probably can win by a touchdown in this spot. Buffalo Bills, get it done. Here's a game that I'm targeting with my bets this week, guys. Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just don't think this Jaguars football team's very good. doesn't look like Brian Thomas Jr. is going to play in this spot, but we have to keep an eye on that injury report for sure. And the Jaguars blew a huge lead last week to a beat-up Texans team. Parker Washington does look pretty good so far, but I printed out this little depth chart thing on the Jaguars, right? They have 4 starting offensive linemen questionable. Cleveland, Hainsey, McCarry, and Harrison, all questionable, right? Against a really tough defense. I think the Chargers' defense is the most underrated defense in this entire NFL. Remember, last year, they gave up the fewest amount of points in the entire NFL, right? So I love the Chargers. I think they're like minus 160 favorites. I think that's really, really good juice for the Chargers in this spot. And they were able to scheme up around the deficiencies on the offensive line last week in that win. So hopefully that can continue. The Jaguars' defense has definitely fallen off from the first half of this year. And I just love the weapons there. Ladd McConkey is questionable in this game, but I do think he's going to play. But Justin Herbert and this offense, it's going to be a lot for the Jaguars to handle. And the Jaguars just find ways to lose games. And when you're going up against a very well-coached team with a really good defense, I think it's going to be tough sledding for Jacksonville this week. I like the Chargers. I really like the Chargers a lot this week. I think they're going to win this game. And they might, win by 2-3 scores. I love what Justin Herbert's doing. He looks better and better each and every week. And these two teams are on different paths. I think the Chargers are finding themselves and playing better football, and the Jaguars are meddling right now, and they're just not playing fundamentally sound football, like offensively and defensively. It's going to be an uphill battle for Jacksonville. I love this spot for the Chargers to get a W. Next up, we got another division game. Really, really tough game. Bears on the road taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings lost to the Ravens last week in a really tough game, right? Tough game, a bunch of turnovers. They had 3 turnovers in that game, and that ultimately was too much. And Justin Jefferson, he was talking about getting back into beast mode. And the Bears haven't really beat any good teams yet, but this is a big test. And if they want to make the playoffs this year, they got to win games like this on the road. You saw what Philadelphia did last week against Green Bay. It wasn't the prettiest game in the world at all. 10-7 victory for the Eagles, right? But they won a tough game on the road. Whether it's ugly or pretty, that shit doesn't matter. So they got to really, really step up in this spot. But the Bears' defense is kind of shorthanded, especially in the secondary. And I think that this Vikings offense with Addison, Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson can take care of the football this week, not turn it over 3 times, and just handle a mediocre Bears secondary. I think J.J. McCarthy steps up and plays a lot better than he did last week. So I'm going to roll with the Vikings here. I think they could do what it takes to get it done. They are a little banged up. We got to keep an eye on Jonathan Grenard in this spot. Van Ginkel's dealing with something going on with his neck. So just peek in on that injury report as we get closer to this game. But man, Caleb Williams looked pretty good last week. Been playing better football. And in this league, if you want to make the playoffs and make a run, you got to beat the bad teams. And that's what the Bears are doing right now, right? So the second half of the year, their schedule gets a lot tougher. So we're really going to figure out who this Bears team is, where their deficiencies are, and whether or not Caleb Williams can take a step forward, a true step forward here in year 2. But on the road, I don't like the way the Bears match up with this Vikings offense. So I'm going to roll with the Vikings at home here in Week 11. Another fun game, Packers versus the Giants. This game is really interesting to me because no Russell Wilson. It's going to be Jameis Winston. And you know Jameis Winston is a freaking cowboy, man. He's a gunslinger. He's going to come for the Packers' neck. The Giants are limited offensively, obviously, with no Malik Neighbors, no Jackson Dart, no Cam Scatterbo. But, man, this Packers offense hasn't looked great. Matthew Golden is still questionable. And if this Giants front 7 can actually show up, there's potential for an upset here, man. But the Packers really need a win. They've lost 2 in a row. They can't lose 3 in a row if they want to make the playoffs this year, in my opinion. So they need to play better. But man, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. If you're going to bet the spread, I like the Giants and the points at 7.5. But these picks are all straight up picks, right? But man, I want to take the Giants, and I'm really thinking about it. And I might change my picks as we get closer to Sunday's kickoff. I might send out a message to you guys. But right now, I'm going to roll with the Packers because they're backs against the wall, man. They cannot lose another game, especially a conference game. The Giants aren't going to make the playoffs, but they got to play better. And this offense was, the Eagles' defense finally got everyone healthy, and they look great. So is that a case of the Eagles' defense looking really good or the offense being dysfunctional? They really missed Tucker Kraft last week versus the Eagles and Matthew Golden, two dynamic playmakers, right? So if Matthew Golden does not play in this spot, I'm going to go with the Giants. But it looks like he's going to play. That could open up the offense a little bit. And the secondary for the Giants is very exposable. So for that reason, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game. And if Jordan Love plays like he did last week versus the Eagles, the Giants are going to win this game. Next up, Bengals, Steelers. I'm going with the dog here, man. And they're getting 5.5 points. I love that. One of the main reasons is Alex Highsmith, questionable. And we got Darius Slay. He's not going to play this week. He got a concussion last week. So how the hell are this Steelers team going to cover Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? I think Joe Flacco has had a couple weeks to rest that shoulder, and he's going to come out gunslinging. And this Steelers offense is extremely deficient. But to throw a wrench into all this, Trey Hendrickson is doubtful to play in this spot. That's not great. But man, Aaron Rodgers and this offense has been awful. But man, the Bengals defense is so bad. But I'm still going to roll with the Bengals here. I just think the Bengals have more ways to win. They can run the ball against the Steelers front, I think, and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are going to be unguardable. Jalen Ramsey's not going to be able to do it alone, and they're really thin at the cornerback spot. The Steelers are. I just think the Bengals have more ways to win, and if their defense can just play mediocre, I think they win this game pretty easily. Aaron Rodgers looks so old, and he's like the dink and dunk king of the universe. I just don't have a ton of confidence in this Steelers football team right now. They just don't look good. They're playing uninspired football. Everyone looks kind of deflated each and every week, and it's like compounding, right? It's like earlier and earlier in each game, they're like checking out. And that's why I'm going to roll with the Bengals here on the road. Next up, we got the Texans at the Titans. Titans coming off a bye, right? They fired their head coach a few weeks back. Texans had a huge come-from-behind victory with Davis Mills last week versus the Jaguars. That was really fun to watch, especially because in the first half, Davis Mills did not play well at all. And then something clicked, and he started figuring out what was happening in that game. He looked really good. Big come-from-behind victory. It was incredible. I just don't know how the Titans score points versus this Texans defense. I don't care if it's at home. I don't care that it's coming off a bye. I don't care that it's a backup quarterback. I like the Texans. Mills and Nico Collins were on the same page last week. I don't know how the Titans score points and don't turn the ball over and put their defense in a bad spot against this offense that could just do enough to kick some field goals and score enough points first. There's no way, right, that this Titans team scores over 14 or 17 points. The Texans got, if not the best defense in the NFL, a top 3 unit, top 2 unit, whatever you want to call it. I just don't see any way possible that this Titans team beats a Texans team that needs to win if they want to make the playoffs, and this defense is just too good. They didn't play great last week against the Jaguars, flat out. The Jaguars definitely scored more points than I initially anticipated they were going to score versus this Texans defense. So I think this Texans defense is going to want to come back, prove how good they really are, dominate, win a game. You can't take these games lightly anymore as we're in the second half of the year. I don't think it's going to be a letdown spot. Give me the Texans here in Week 11. 49ers, Cardinals. This is another game that I'm targeting. I love the 49ers in this spot. Parlays add them, teasers add them, money line add them. I love San Francisco in this spot. I'm just going to go over some of my notes. Zay Jones looks like he's done for the year with an Achilles injury. Demerson, ankle ruled out last week. Walter Nolan, he didn't come back in that game last week. He's probably not going to play. 3 of their starting offensive linemen are questionable. The running back room is a mess. No Marvin Harrison Jr. He had to have surgery for appendicitis thing. They got tons of guys on defense not playing. It doesn't look like Will Johnson's going to play. He didn't practice on Thursday. Max Melton has been questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. Brock Purdy's getting the start. He's coming back. I love the 49ers in this particular game. I think they win. They cover the spread. It's only a 2.5. I think they dominate. I think a Robert Saleh defense versus a very limited offense. Jacoby Brissett, we saw what the Seahawks did last week, so obviously Saleh's going to turn on that tape, figure out how the Seahawks were so capable of getting after the quarterback last week. The offensive line's banged up. I know a lot of the stars for the 49ers defense are not playing anymore. They're done for the season. But I don't think this Cardinals offense is very good. They're banged up. No Marvin Harrison Jr. It looks like Zay Jones is out as well. So they're going to be very limited offensively. I really want to exploit the 49ers in this spot to get our bets going. I really think that the 49ers can make us a lot of money this weekend. That's really where I'm going to go heavy this weekend with my bets. Next up, my favorite game of the week. Oh boy, it's going to be so much fun. Seahawks taking on the LA Rams in Los Angeles. Man, where do we even begin to start? Okay, let's start with the home team first. Matt Stafford's playing out of his freaking mind. He looks incredible. But defensively, they have been giving up some points. If you look at San Francisco, they've had a lot of success in both meetings versus the Rams. That game was a lot closer than the final box score suggested, right? One-score game in the third quarter, right? And then the wheels kind of fell off for the 49ers, and the Rams took advantage of that. And the Seahawks just continue to dominate week in and week out. Sam Darnold's playing some of the best, most inspired football of his career. Jackson Smith and Jigba is, planting his flag at the top of the hill as one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers in the entire NFL right now. Cooper Kupp. They got Raheem Shaheed from the Saints. This team looks really, really good, and they play excellent defense. Their defense, I haven't seen their defense really get beat up in a long time. They're going to give up some points, right? It's the Rams. But I think they can get after Matt Stafford and limit him. I'm going with the road dog here. I think they're plus 160 dogs. Give me the Seahawks to win this game versus the Rams. I just like the way these teams match up for Seattle. The Rams defense is kind of underachieving, even though they're winning games. And then I think they can limit Matt Stafford. I really do. So I'm going to roll with this Seahawks team. The offensive line's playing well. They're running the ball when they need to. Seattle all day long. NFL fans, if you're still with me, do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Blast that hype button. I appreciate you guys sticking with me during these breakdowns. Ravens at the Browns. This Ravens team got a big win on the road last week. When things are not going well for your team, you can go on the road in a tough atmosphere in Minnesota against a good football team and win. That's going to give you confidence moving forward. One of the many reasons why I like the Ravens to win over the Browns. Dylan Gabriel, according to PFF, is the most inaccurate starting quarterback in the NFL. I think Harbaugh and this defense can exploit that. I'm expecting a couple turnovers. Dylan Gabriel over a half an interception looks pretty juicy to me. Looks a little juicy. Jacoby Brissett could be in play for an interception as well. But man, this offense, the only way the Browns win is if Judkins goes for like a $150, 2 tutties, and just like controls the line of scrimmage, averages like 6 or 7 yards per carry, and Dylan Gabriel can just use play action a couple times a game and exploit things down the field. I think the Ravens, in a must-win spot, are going to win this game, man. If they lose to the Browns here, their season might be over, right? But obviously it all depends what the Steelers do, right? Because the Steelers are kind of on the way down. The Ravens are on the way up. They got to keep that pedal to the metal here, guys, and win in this spot. But for me, if I'm a Browns fan, I want to see Shedeur Sanders. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's ever going to be more than a backup in this league. He's too small, too inaccurate with the football, and he's played a lot of college ball, right? So I don't see how much better he's going to get with more playing time. And that's kind of the opposite with Shedeur Sanders, right? who I think, can play in this league, but it remains to be seen. And the Browns are just extremely limited offensively outside of the running back spot. Right? The wide receiver room, tons of drops. Not great. Give me the Ravens. All right, we got another exciting game. We got 3 exciting games to wrap up Week 11. Chiefs at the Broncos in Denver. Andy Reid is one of the best coaches of all time. He's even better coming off a bye, if you can believe that, right? His winning percentage coming off a bye is, I think it's the best in NFL history. And that's why I'm going to be rolling with our boys and the Kansas City Chiefs. On the road, they are bigger favorites than I initially would have thought. I thought this game would be in that minus 160-ish range. I saw earlier today it was minus 220. That's a lot of juice. I paired them up in a couple parlays and some teasers because I do think if the Broncos win, it's not going to be by a lot of points. So I think that the Chiefs and teasers is a great way to use the Chiefs this weekend. The Broncos offense, especially the first 3 quarters of like the last 10 games, pretty much all season, has not been good. They've had to win a lot of close games, pulling games out of their ass, like the Raiders game, like the Giants game, and they're not good teams. This Chiefs team is going to come prepared and ready to kick some ass. And I love the Chiefs in this spot. I think they cover the 4 points or whatever it is, 3.5, 4 points, depending on what sportsbook you use. And no Pat Surtain. It's going to make things a lot more difficult for the Broncos here. I don't see, what is the Broncos' path to victory here? Are they going to run the ball down the Chiefs' throat? We've seen multiple times Spagnuolo is able to bring guys up in the box, go man-to-man outside, in like a cover 1, and just stack the box and shut down the run like they did with their Eagles. But the Broncos don't have dynamic receivers on the outside, and Bo Nix, I don't see the Chiefs making the Chiefs pay for being in cover 1. I don't see that happening. I think a lot of cover 1 is going to be used in this spot by the Chiefs. Single high safety, man-to-man on the outside, 8 guys in the box, make Bo Nix beat you, and I just don't see it happening. That's why I like the Kansas City Chiefs here. It doesn't look like Pacheco's going to play. That's a bummer. And Xavier Worthy has been limited this week. Penny Lane's waking up from a little nappy poo. All right, guys, so we're rolling with the Chiefies. Sunday Night Football, my Philadelphia Eagles, go Birds! Big win against the Packers. But the Eagles don't look good, the offense. The defense looked phenomenal. But this offense, Kevin Patullo, he can't coach an offense. He's not creative enough. He's not smart enough. He doesn't identify what the defenses are doing and countering what they're doing. He's playing checkers. Defensive coordinators are playing chess against Kevin Patullo and this, with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley to be scoring fucking 10 points in a game. Sorry, my F-bombs. But it's ridiculous. And, man, I'm torn on this game because, man, the freaking Lions defense is like 3,000 guys are on IR. I don't know if Terrion Arnold's going to play in this spot. Oh, man, shit. I've been going back and forth on this game. I just don't know. Can Jared Goff and this offense cook against this Eagles defense that looked pretty damn good last week? Oh, man, I've been going back and forth in my head on this. Oh, man. I'm still going to go with the Lions, I think. This is an emotional hedge. I'm either right, awesome, or the Eagles win. But I just think that this offense for the Lions is going to be too dynamic for Kevin Patullo to keep up with. Unless the Eagles can force some turnovers at home. I'm going to check the weather. If it's windy and cold, Sunday Night Football, there on the Delaware River where the Eagles Stadium is, we got to check the wind. Because if it's windy, I'm going to go with the Eagles. But as of right now, I'm going to go with the Lions. I got to check the weather report closer to game time. But if I change my pick, I will send a post to all you guys out there. And guys, if you're into sports betting, check out my memberships, man. We've been killing it all season long. Still in the green during a really tough NFL season. So check that out in the link in the description down below. And join over 350 people in the J All Day community. Monday Night Football, I'm going with the Raiders. I think the Raiders can exploit this horrific Dallas Cowboys mother effing run game. Genty, we're looking for that breakout game. with between Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, and Ashton Genty. They got to be able to cook. If they can't cook this weekend, everyone's got to go. Fire everybody. This Dallas Cowboys defense is horrific. They can't cover anyone either. I think Brock Bowers can have a big game here. So, there it is, guys. Wrapping up Week 11. Here are my Week 11 picks out there in the YouTube world. Week 11 picks coming at you guys. We got the Dolphins, Panthers, Bills, Chargers, Vikings, Packers, Bengals, Texans, San Francisco 49ers, Seahawks, Ravens, Chiefs. We got the Lions and the Raiders. A lot of road teams this week, but I think they get it done. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Peace. Underdog is sponsoring today's video, guys. The spot for pick'ems this NFL season. You simply pick higher or lower on 2 or more of your favorite players to get in the game, guys. Simply choose your entry fee, and for being a part of the J All Day community, Underdog is giving you guys a great opportunity. Use the promo code JALLDAY. Play $5 to get $100 in bonus funds.